So you were recently in Iowa, which can only mean that you want to be president, right? Do you have anything to tell us today?
Well, I'm not breaking any news today, Brandi, but the reality is we can't continue on this trajectory that we're on. We have so many. We live in complicated times, and as you said in your open, we need common sense solutions. I've been fortunate to have been connected for over 2 decades to national security and to have been able to serve my country in a lot of different ways. And I'm not ruling out serving my country again at some point in time in the future.
So what are you weighing in order to make that decision?
Well, I think anybody who's thinking about running for office, you need to figure out is the willingness there, right? This is, running for office is difficult. When I quit a job that I was really good at in the CIA, recruiting spies and stealing secrets and preventing, terrorists from trying to blow up the homeland and Russian spies from stealing our secrets and weapons, nuclear weapons proliferators from trying to sneak a dirty bomb into the country. And to be frank, I got pissed with the caliber of our elected officials and decided to leave a job I was good at and move back to my hometown and run for Congress. And I thought I had a sense of how difficult that was going to be, but that willingness is there. You got to have the right ideas, right, and see, do those ideas resonate with folks. Also, there's got to be a moment to be met. And to me, I think the lessons of 2020 and 2022 is the country is trying to tell us that, hey, number one, don't be a jerk and don't be a socialist, and number two, have common sense ideas and solve problems, right? And those were the lessons. Unfortunately, I think both parties have not learned those lessons, and so I think the moment is there. I think the country is ready for something different, and I think that needs to be tested.
So the title of this session is Republican Reset. Obviously, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the Republican Party, where it's at, where maybe it needs to be. But I joked with you before we started when we were back in the green room that you might be the only Republican some people watching hear from all year long. So I want you to introduce your brand of conservatism to the Seattle audience.
Look, I appreciate it, Brandon. Look, I have a real simple philosophy, right? Show up and talk about important issues, right? Don't be a jerk. Don't be a misogynist. Don't be a homophobe, right? These are simple things. I was lucky. My dad and mother met in Los Angeles and they met in 1969. They got married in 1970 and moved to South Texas in 1971. My dad's black, my mom's white, and what they had just gotten, it would be just become allowed to have an interracial marriage only 4 years earlier. And when my dad was a traveling salesman. He sold notions, right? That's like an old timey word for zippers and threads and buttons. And he was on the road Monday through Friday. And then he would come home, and my mom, after they had 3 kids, decided to buy a house. The only place they were able to find was the place where they ended up living for 50 years. It was the only place that would sell a home to an interracial couple, right? And then fast forward 35 years, their youngest son represented that area as a member of Congress, right? And the things that I learned from my dad: work hard, show transparency. These are all the things that I learned. I think strong foreign policy. The United States became a great nation not because of what we have taken, but because of what we have given, right? And we built an international order that benefited us. And that's why when it comes to things like Ukraine, we need to support the Ukrainians against the Russians, right? And so I do believe that small government matters. I do believe in a federalist society and that you should have local control. Unfortunately, many in my party don't think about that. They only want local control when it's, they are controlling things the way they want it to be done. That's kind of against our principles. But if I had to boil this all down to a simple formula, right? It means freedom leads to opportunity, opportunity leads to growth, and growth leads to progress, right? And ensuring those things happen is how we make sure this experiment continues to work.